Zeus conquers the Titans and the wrath of Hera. By Geraldine McCaughrean, illustrated by Tony Ross. Zeus conquers the Titans. At the very outset of everything, heaven and earth had 12 sons and daughters, the Titans. The oldest boy, Kronos, when his hour had come, took his father's throne by force. Heaven cursed him, "One day your son will take power from you. Then you will taste the sorrow I taste now." Grown to manhood, finding his own hour had come, Zeus rescued his brothers and sisters from the bottomless belly of Kronos and did battle with the Titans, finally hurling them down deeper than the bottom of the universe. Desperate to thwart the curse, Kronos swallowed all his own children. All that is, but one, as yet unborn. For his pregnant wife ran away, gave birth in secret, and named the boy Zeus. A few lived on, but their age was truly past. The age of Olympians had dawned. Zeus and his brothers shared out the world between them, drawing lots to divide up the prize. Poseidon won the sea, realm of mermaids, whales and reefs. Hades won the underworld with all its gloomy caverns. And Zeus, shining Zeus, won the upper world, beach and forest and stream, continents and islands, deserts and mountains. Still, Mount Olympus was home to all three. Next, Zeus set about peopling the upper world. First he made a race of gold, perfect in form and perfectly happy. They lived from the fruit on the trees, and never fell ill or died. But so easy were their days, so peaceful their nights, that they had a way of sitting down to sleep and not troubling to wake up again. So Zeus the Shining melted them down and left only their spirits to watch over the next race of people, the ones he cast from silver. The race of silver were beautiful and vain. They looked at themselves in the dew ponds and said, "So beautiful. We must be gods." And so they never turned their silver faces towards Mount Olympus, and, in their pride, they thought the world was theirs. So Zeus buried the race of silver in the ground, and made the race of bronze instead. They were no sooner born than they picked up flints and used them for tools. They made axes and spades, and began industriously to build. "This is better," said Zeus. Then they made swords and spears and arrows and clubs, and left off building to slaughter one another. By the time their war was finished, Zeus had to begin all over again. All that was left to him was iron. The race of iron rusted and grew old. They worked and quarreled, loved and died. They worshipped the gods with a fearful superstition, and bombarded Olympus with their prayers. In fact, they were you mortals. Humankind. Not much, but the best Zeus could do with base iron. All this while, the blood of the Titan Zeus had overthrown lay on the dry, red earth. Then, up from the red drops, pushing their ugly faces through the soil, dragging their dragony tails behind them, there came an army of giants. They tore up rocks and trees, and pelted the gods. Hard against Olympus they wrenched up Mount Ossa and balanced it on top of Mount Pelion, a ladder to reach the height of heaven and attack the cloudy citadel. Their leader, Typhon, was the biggest of them all, with 100 heads and eyes of fire, 100 forked black tongues in his 100 gaping mouths. But Zeus clutched the lightning out of the sky, and thunderbolts from the glowering clouds, and he hurled them at the giants scrabbling up their mountainous siege tower. He rained on them such a hail of noise and light that Ossa and Pelion toppled and crashed, spilling them across the surface of the earth. Only Typhon was left standing. The thunderbolts bounced harmlessly off his massive chest. The lightning he swatted away like so many fireflies, laughing. "You can't kill me, Zeus. I'm immortal like you, and like you I mean to rule the world." Zeus's hands were empty of weapons, he had nothing left to throw. With 100 barbarous grins, the gigantic monster came on. "I'll rip you and peel eat you. I'll tear you and I'll mince you. Pull the sea up over your eyes, Poseidon. Pull the earth up over your head, Hades. You don't want to see what I'm going to do to your brother. Then Zeus noticed Italy. It jutted out into the Mediterranean Sea like an icicle hanging from a roof. Now he bent and tore off a piece and, hurling it at Typhon with one last great roaring effort, knocked him far out to sea. It sank him a new island, Sicily. And though Typhon struggled and writhed and belched fire from his 100 mouths, his fellow giants could not come to his aid. For the Olympians were piling hills and mountains on top of them, burying them under 1,000,000 tons of rock. As Typhon had said, they could not die. When they writhed and struggled to break free, molten rock bursts from the mountains over them and bubbles in incandescent rivers down to the sea. I want to marry, thought Zeus, as the volcanoes simmered and their noisy eruptions subsided. So he married Metis the Titan, and might have been happy but for something she said one night. You know, dear, it is prophesied that you and I will have a child as wise and great as anyone in heaven, she said dreamily. As mighty even as you, my love. Think of that! Zeus did think. My grandfather was overthrown by my father. My father I overthrew. What if this child of hers overthrows me? And opening his mouth, Zeus began to yawn and stretch. The more he stretched, the wider he yawned, and by the time he settled his head on the pillow to sleep he was alone in bed. He had swallowed Metis, prophecy and all. After that, he was often troubled by headaches, but never by any regrets, for there were plenty more women in the world. The goddess Hera heard pecking at her palace window one winter's day. She opened the shutters and in fluttered a tiny cuckoo, shivering with cold. You poor little thing, said Hera, her brown eyes filling with tears. Let me warm you. Tenderly she cradled the cuckoo against the warmth of her body and stroked its ice-speckled wings. All day she kept it with her, and at bedtime placed it on the pillow by her face. All of a sudden, the bed groaned under a great weight, and the cuckoo disappeared. In its place, Zeus lay smiling eagerly at Hera and saying, Kiss me, my beauty. Not unless you marry me, said Hera, rolling quickly out of bed. I've heard all about you, Zeus. I have a mind to be queen of heaven and the one and only love of shining Zeus. So Hera married her cuckoo, and they say the mountains grew a mattress of emerald grass and a quilt of 1,000,000 flowers to make a fitting bridal bed for the king and queen of heaven. But Hera told him plainly, I've heard about you and pretty women. But from this day forward your kisses are all for me, understand? Never let me hear of you wooing another woman. I will never let you hear that, promised Zeus, eyes wide and innocent. But behind his back he kept his fingers crossed. Listen! Is that another roll of thunder? Zeus and Hera are quarreling again. It is probably about his philandering. The truth is, he simply cannot resist a pretty face. And so his life with Hera has never been peaceful. Zeus's children are everywhere and very few of them are Hera's. He has children by mortals. Children by wood nymphs, children by sea nymphs, and goddesses. Hermes, messenger of the gods, has flown messages for Zeus time past number mostly to women. Sometimes Hera tries to destroy his lovers, sometimes just to make their lives a misery. It is a kind of game like two chess players trying to remove each other's pieces from the board.